Hello folks, we are live from Hybrid Athletics. We're just a little behind today. We're reopened, so schedules are all messy and mixed up and there's lots of things going on. But we're still going to get mobilized, we're still going to get stretchy, this is still going to be online. All the previous iterations of Mobility Monday are on the Hybrid Athletic YouTube page, so if you go there and Google that, you can always follow along with those. As well as linked to that, we have lots of little 5-minute mobility pieces. So if you want to get something in that's a little bit faster, maybe you only got 5 or 6 minutes in the middle of your day, you get up from your desk, you want to move around, do something. These sessions are 15 to 20 minutes long. All those 5-minute ones are 5 or 6 minutes. Sometimes they bleed to 6 just because they got 2 sides of the body, 3 stretches each, that kind of thing, right? So today we are going to start just as I'm sitting here, right? We're going to sit into the quad. We're going to sit back a little bit. You can put your hands back behind you. Just lean back into it and get your hips and quads stretched out. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like from the side. I'm trying to look for somewhat of a straight line from shoulder to hip to knee. As I squeeze my butt cheeks and kind of push my hips forward slightly, I'll shimmy and shake side to side just a bit, get those quads in there. Your knees could be together or splayed apart slightly. We don't want to get them too wide, but what is most comfortable for you so it's not hurting your knees. If you're ridiculously flexible in this position, you could drop to the elbow, so you would grab, sometimes I'll just grab one of my shins, I'll go to one elbow to the other. Now I'm farther back. You can see I've got a bit of an arch going here, so I'm not quite flexible enough to get into that position. This is plenty for me here, but if you're really flexible, you could drop to the elbows. You could even lay down flat on your back. I've seen little kids and females especially are a little more flexible in that position. That's our quad pre-stretch, okay? So we're gonna do another pre-stretch test with the sit and reach. So straight ahead, feet together. We're gonna go chest towards the knees. Hands can reach past or down, and you're gonna bring your head down towards your knees or the floor even. See where your pre-test is, okay? So this is our first time doing this stretch. We haven't pre-stretched everything else. Again, chest forward, roll over, drop your head, grab your heels or your toes. Really fold into that there. Okay, so I'm pretty good right now. I'm down to my knees. I've led a few classes. I've moved a little bit already, so my mobility's kind of loosened up. You stay in that position. I'm just going to close this door. I think the sound might be getting to you. Okay, so we've had our 2 pre-tests. We tested the quad flexibility, kind of see where we're at, and we've done our forward fold flexibility and see where that's at, right? So we're gonna go through a bit of a stretch series for the next 7 to 10 minutes, and then we'll post-test and see if we've made a difference in that. So right now we're gonna go to the high dragon position. So I'm looking for 90-degree angles, and I'm gonna extend my hip forward as I push it in there, and I'm feeling that stretch in this front hip flexor of the back leg. I keep myself nice and tall, looking for extension from shoulder, through hip, through knee, as I push through there. I don't want to overextend and overarch and jam up my back, but I don't want to be sticking my butt out and be forward. Push the hip forward, nice strong position. You can pulse in and out a little bit. You see I'll move my foot around a little. It'll just change the angles of that stretch just a bit into the corners. Pushing that in, and then from here we're going to kick the hip back, which starts to straighten the leg, and we'll finish it out by pushing the heel forward, okay? So now we're still in that hip lunge position. The leg in front is straight, and we're going to fold into it. 2 ways we can go. We can really hinge at the hip, start to fold. We can roll ourselves forward. As long as we're looking to get a stretch in that hamstring position underneath. I got my hammer pants on, so they're not going to show you the greatest lines. But I'm looking for that leg to be hamstring stretched as I fold forward. We will go to a bigger split here, but for now, what I'm looking for is keeping that same position, right? We're looking to have a folded hip so we get nice and deep into that hamstring underneath. We're not worrying about the back leg yet. It's still vertical. We can dig in those corners again, find the dark spots, really loosen up the hamstring. If you tuck your chin, you might find it's a little more neural behind the knee and in the spine. Same thing with pointing the toe. If I pull the toe up, I feel it more behind my knee. If I relax the ankle joint, so plantar flex it, it's going to become a little bit more into the hamstring. So you think about those things as you work through the ankles. From there, we'll sweep that front foot back to the knees again, and then we bring the other foot forward so that I'm in the hip flexor on the opposite side. So I started with the right hip flexor and the left hamstring. Now I'm doing the left hip flexor, then we'll do the right hamstring. So again, here, pushing straight through. I've got a good line from shoulder through torso, through the knee. Don't let your butt stick out. Bring that hip through. Squeeze this butt cheek. Get the hip to fold forward. Feel the stretch in the front of the hip flexion. I know lots of gyms are starting to open up. Hopefully you guys are able to get to a facility. We have a partnership with Pacific Sport. We do have open gym times that are going to be available coming up in June. If you'd like more information, give us a call, message us through Instagram, Hybrid Athletic, myself, Nate Bevy, any of those things. Not 100% certain what it'll all look like, but we do want to provide opportunities for young athletes to get into the facilities when I know a lot of rec centers are closed, and oftentimes that's where you guys are trying to get to. Take that front leg, straighten it out. So again, we're vertical with the hip, front leg straight, hinge into it, hands can go down for balance. We're not splitting yet, we're just getting a good hamstring stretch underneath this front leg as we go side to side. Dig in those corners a little bit. Get the internal and medial hamstring as we turn it outside and get the lateral and even closer to the IT band. It's a bright spot. We're going to go back to the first side and into the lunge position again, and then we're going to go down to the lizard and add the twisted lizard. So showing you from the front, I go into a lunge position, put my hand down as if I'm going to go straight lizard, and then the hand that's in front is going to reach back and grab the other foot. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like from different angles. I'm here, leg is in front, other hand is down, the front sided leg reaches back, grab my foot in order to go back into this stretch. So the same things that we were trying to do, as I turn this around to show you the other side, what we're looking for is to get as close to a straight line from shoulder to hip to knee as we can. So as I reach back and grab it, I might shoot my hip back, but then I'm going to want to push my hip forward again to get back to that straight line. If I'm doing this stretch in this position here, you can see that my hip is broken or it's flexed. So I'm not going to get that stretch I need from an extended hip. I need to extend that hip forward, squeeze that back butt cheek, pull on the foot in order to create tension in the quad. While you're here, you can just hold. You can create tension by pressing against the arm and then relax, creating a little bit of a PNF stretch. Think about keeping that front foot flat on the ground. Don't let it roll up into the toe. Drive the heel down. Long extended hip. Pull on that quad. If we let that foot down, so we relax it down, and we're going to take it down lower to the ground here in the front. So on this angle here, we're looking for long lunge. Knee is in front of the ankle and outside the ankle, so we're getting a good squat position. And then we drop down into the lizard lunge. Okay, if you're very flexible, again, you can go ahead all the way down. Digging through here, sometimes I'll hook my hand in behind. Find those corners, the different spots that I get into. come back up. We're going to push on this foot. I'm going to turn this way. Okay, so I'm going to take the knee. I can either push to get some rotation, again from the front, push to rotate, or I can just reach up and create this rotation through my spine to loosen up here. I'm kind of in like a lunging warrior type position. Come back, plant the hand, ride that foot back, drag the other foot up. So we're opposite foot forward, and then again, the front arm is the one that reaches back to grab the foot, right? So we sink the hip if we need to get to the foot, but then we want to push the hip forward to get into that straight hip flexor position. Common things that we'll see here, we'll have that break in the body position, or the foot's too close, right? We've got to stretch it out. So we need to elongate the lunge so that the foot and the knee are far apart. And you can see the clean lines I'm creating from shoulder to hip to knee, which is giving me a really good hip flexor and quad stretch here. As always, I'll work into the corners a little bit, find the different spots, dig deep. You can add the pressure against the hand, fire the quad, and then relax. The PNF stretching if you want, get that activated. As I said, moving your foot around or moving your head causes different issues with the neural activity, so we're feeling different stretches that way. As we release, let it down. Elbow comes to the ground, again from the front angle, we're here. So I'm getting lower into that stretch. The knee again is ahead of the ankle and outside of it in a good squat position. Also, we can bring the head down. Whatever's flexible for you. You might be up high, maybe that's as deep as you can go, that's totally fine. You might have a block even, or a bench, something, a yoga block to balance on, if you need that for flexibility purposes right now. Dig into those corners. And then as last time, we're going to go to that modified warrior. So we're here. Again, if you need to use your leg for balance, you can just push on it for rotation. If you've got the balance and a good stable hand, you can take that other hand and reach to the roof. Get a good rotation. Think about this shoulder being externally rotated so we're not impinging the shoulder on ourselves. Suck it back and out. Plant the hand solid. Reach up to the sky and open up that chest. Then we come back down. Set that one more time. Drag the leg around. Just a real quick kneel, set the knees, and then we're going to plant to downward dog, and we're going to go to a forward fold and then down to a seated position. Okay, so just quickly tuck up to downward dog. Walk your hands backwards to that forward fold. That looks very much like our seated forward fold, right? Tuck your chin in. And then we can just stand and we'll sit into a seated position. So we're going to go straddle now. So we want to get to that forward fold, right? We've worked a bunch on the quads, so that post test should be beneficial. Now we want to get the back and the hamstrings a little bit more. We've done some hamming. So we're going to go to the straddle position. It's legs wide. And to start, we're just going to add the forward fold. So we just fold straight forward in the hip. Feel the back stretch slightly, tuck the chin down. If you've got tight groin, you're going to feel this a little bit more through here, so just ease the feet in a little bit if you need. If you're very flexible, you can go to a pancake split almost, right? On the forward fold, either our hamstrings or our back is usually our limiter. Okay, so we want to get a little bit of both, so we're going to rotate and go down to one leg in particular. If you want to rotate a little bit of twist in there, you'll feel it more through the back, right? We hit the hamstring pretty good with that straight-legged hamstring. If we can get the back to loosen up, it's going to give us a better fold eventually. If you're fairly flexible, you could bring this arm over the top and go right into that. If you can, you want to plant that backside elbow on the ground to give you a little more stability, help you to balance in there, so you don't want to be like holding a stretch and fighting for balance. You want to be able to relax into the position and allow it to happen. As I come back up, I'm going to go to the other side. So again, I'm going to try to put this elbow on the ground for balance purposes, hold the foot to increase the stretch, but I don't want to be trying to like keep my stability and balance. It's going to make me work, and I want the muscles to relax. So again, I fold over. My elbow's on the ground here. My hand can touch the side of my foot, and I can reach over the top if I want. Drop down in there. If you're really flexible, you can probably even rest your head on your knee. We're going to come back to the middle here again. Just set things. Maybe you got one side's a little, usually I'm a little off to the side that I just did, so we'll kind of go side to side just a little bit. Sit up. We're going to bring the feet back together. And then we're just going to get a little bit more low back. So if I'm straight off, I'm going to try to take my left elbow and put it on the right side of my body on the grass. Okay? I can put both down. I don't want to be lifting my legs, so if I can only get the one down and I have the other one to balance me, that's fine. I'm getting a little bit of rotation and stretch to my back. Again, I'm keeping my head up so I can see that I'm doing the right things in the video. Ideally, we're going to tuck our chin and allow it to stretch through the spine and the back at the same time. Tuck it down, gently move it around. See where those spots are that are best. Try to keep both bum cheeks on the ground, both knees touching down, both heels touching down. As we sit and do the same on the opposite side, so on the right elbow to the grass beside the left knee. Hand for balance if you need, and then tuck the chin, let the stretch happen. Deep breaths, exhale all the way out. Let yourself sink into the stretch. As we come back out here, what we're going to do, we're just going to lay back and elongate. So just one time, I'm going to lay on my back, I'm going to reach my hands up, I'm going to let my back relax, to keep my spine down a bit, and I'm going to just get as long and as tall as I can. If you're a power athlete, you've probably got a bit of a lordotic arch like I have. It's okay, let that stretch out, shimmy around, and then what we're going to do from here is we're going to sit all the way up, and we're going to go into that forward fold position and see if we've improved at all over the course of this time. So again, chest comes forward, head will tuck down, hands will reach. See if you can get your nose to your knees if you couldn't do that before. Maybe you can get your nose all the way to the grass, something like that. See how that post test fits. I can pull on my heels for a little bit of help. I can tuck my chin in. Hands can go over the toes, whatever feels good for you. So that's pretty good for me for this time of the day. I guess I haven't been up since 5 o'clock, so it's like late in the day for me already. But normally first thing in the morning, I'm maybe like halfway to my knees, and then after a few stretches, I can get to the knees, and then right now it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm getting my face almost to the glass, right? So that's pretty loosened up through the back, that feels pretty good. I'm gonna do the post test on those quads as well. So again, we're going to the knees. Knees can be slightly splayed open, whatever feels good there. I'm gonna drop the shoulders back and put my hands down, and then push the hips forward to feel a stretch through the quad. So if you're very flexible, as I said before, so this is a good enough stretch for me where I can keep neutral. If I was to go back farther to the elbows, I start to arch too much. I feel a pinch in my back and my knees come up. If you're very flexible, that's great. You can take it there all that way. If not, this is adequate. I can reach back a little farther, add some shoulder stretch to it. Push my hips around, feel a good stretch through the quads as I reach on each side. I'm able to sink my hips a little lower between my feet than I did last time. So I can definitely feel like I've made some progress on this stretch. As you finish that up, you don't want to feel any pinching in your back, so you don't want to overarch it. You could use, if you use one of those wall balls or a slam ball or a couch or something behind you that you can lean against. That'll allow you to get onto a nice angle and keep a nice straight angle without having to actively hold yourself there. I was letting my shoulders do most of the work, setting them back, and then letting the hip flexors be the stretch. So what you want to do is, hey, JVD, I think Josh, your brother, comes here. Daniel. Follow that series again. That's a lot of hamstrings and hips. We did some pre-test and some post-test. I'll share it to the account as well as to the YouTube account of Hybrid Athletic. And yeah, follow along again. As I mentioned, there's those 5-minute videos on there. So if you've got just a couple minutes at your desk and you want to get up and get a couple of stretches in, you can. These videos, the last 4 that we've run, are linked up there on our website, on YouTube, and they're in the Instagram account for Pacific Sport. They're all here, and they're around 20 minutes long. So if you got a little bit more time and you want to spend a good stretch there, then follow along with those ones. If you just want a 5 or 6 minute stretch, some of those on our YouTube as well. We are open here at Hybrid Athletics. You guys are welcome to give us a call. I know we've got Pacific Sport partnerships and stuff. We've got stations all laid out for everybody. We're doing personal training, group training, that kind of stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys are getting back in the gym as they start to open up. Let us know, reach out to us. We've got all kinds of services that we can offer in terms of programming and training and coaching and all kinds of stuff. And hopefully we can help you guys reach your goals and help you out in any way health and fitness related. Have a great week. Good luck. Win the day.